Right now, there's a little bit of a Pokemon correction going on, and sealed and singles are hurting a little bit, but some of them are recovering. And I've seen a lot of videos going around, and most of the chatter in the community right now is about, oh, a crash, but it's really just an opportunity to buy the dip because everything just keeps going up, right? Right. Well, most people are trashing on selling, but I want to talk about in this video why, honestly, it's really not a bad idea to probably sell right now. And honestly, it might even be the better idea depending on your circumstance or a few things going on right now. And I want to talk about in this video because it is being overlooked and it's very, very important for your future. So I follow a lot of what's going on economically, and I'm a real estate agent, licensed real estate broker, and that's what I did before coming into Pokemon here. And just to keep it simple, there's a lot of stuff going on in the economy right now that the can just keeps getting kicked down the road, and none of the core issues that we're having are being addressed right now. There's just a lot of can kicking, and it's keeping numbers high for right now. And just last week we had a big Trump China tariffs scare, and that's what led stocks, crypto, and it probably led to this Pokemon sell-off too. It's just the fear of that, and seeing, like if you looked at crypto, things like literally some of them dropped 40-50% for minutes and then shot back up. But just seeing that, like the gut punch to your stomach, that a lot of people probably looked at their phones and saw that, or if they got notifications that something that they had like halved in value, that leads to some scaring, and it might have led people to sell off and lock in profits of some of this Pokemon stuff, which is why we saw a slight correction, even though it's bouncing back right now. But that happening got me really thinking about where we're at right now, not just in the broader Pokemon market, but in the economy and where we're likely heading. And I really think now, for a lot of people, depending on your circumstance, it's probably a really, really good time to sell. I kind of want to start off with an example of the scare that we just had. Let's say instead of it being kind of a nothing burger and markets kind of recovering, let's say tariffs got worse. Let's say jobs data got worse, and we keep going down into a recession. It'd be really sucky. Obviously, it would be horrible. But would you be okay if in that environment an emergency happened in your life and you needed money? Would you be okay? And would you be able to, in an environment where people are tightening up spending, probably cutting, especially in the collectibles category, moving things slower? Now, you could always just send your stuff to a consignment service. They'll sell it, right? You'll get the most you probably can out of it in that environment, but it's going to take you still a while to get your money. You can send it off. It's going to take you at minimum 2 weeks. Honestly, more like a month to a month and a half just to get your money doing consignment. And we're talking about an emergency here. Do you have honestly, and a lot of people are going to be consigning if that's happening, but really, do you have a month to a month and a half to wait for that money if an emergency is happening? No, if you did, you'd probably go to an LGS, which a lot of LGSs are leveraged opening up these card shops right now. They're probably going to put a big old pause on spending or be buying it dirt cheap, or you're going to have like the local maybe investor guy or someone try to come pick it up still because maybe they have the money and they're able to buy stuff still. If you do that, you're going to cash out quick, which is good, way faster, but you're going to take a huge percentage cut, and maybe 50, maybe 60% they're going to buy that stuff at. When a lot of people are tightening it up and don't have the money and are holding back from dumping a lot into TCG and collectible stuff because they're worried about their four walls, you're going to take a much bigger percentage cut on your stuff. Does that make you really even profit if you think about it? If you need the money quick and you've been investing in Pokemon and all this for the past year, and then you go and shave 40% off of that to sell. If you had $10,000 in inventory and you have to sell it off quick for an emergency and you sell it for $6,000. You just spent all that time investing in the Pokemon and doing that, and you sold it super quick because of an emergency. Do you see where I'm sort of getting at here? Did you really make anything? My point in this is just to listen and look at your own situation when it comes to, is it a good time to sell right now? Instead of just listening to everyone else who just tells you to buy the dip. Let's talk about Rudy from Alpha Investments. He is a big TCG investor of Magic, Pokemon, several other TCGs, and his position pretty much always is just hold no matter what. I mean, he has many stories of Pokemon, other TCGs, literally going to really horrible numbers where you would just lose 10% just selling a box from wholesale price. And he sat through and he held through all that stuff. Right? On paper, that makes us all want to go and do the exact same thing. I'm going to go buy a bunch of Pokemon and I know it always goes up, or I'm going to go buy Magic, I know it always goes up, and I'm just going to hang on to it through everything. Well, here's the thing, and Rudy doesn't really talk about this anymore, but back when, there was a bear market, there was a bad market a couple years ago, and this is something he doesn't really talk about, but it's so important. He is diversified. He is so diversified. Before he had as much TCG stuff as he did, he had paid off rental properties, stocks that probably pay dividends. He's diversified. He has crypto, and he owns a stake in a grading company. I think PCG. I can't remember the name exactly. And he also is in this. The point is, if all of these TCGs went to zero, his life likely would not change at all. He still has paid off rental properties, giving him income every month, dividend stocks, paying him money every single month, and he plays a lot of low risk, safe bets. And even with real estate, his real estate properties are paid off. He doesn't believe in debt, and we are in a super high debt, over leveraged world right now. We really, really are, and he doesn't believe in that, and he doesn't have that. A lot of us skip all those steps. Type a comment right now, say one or just something. If you skip all those steps of setting your foundation up and you just went straight all in into Pokemon, or you went straight all into some other TCG without having any sort of foundation if something happens in these markets. And don't tell me that you own $1,000 of a crypto, or that you have $5,000 in a retirement account, or don't say any of that's not. If you're putting a whole bunch of money into Pokemon and you have just that doesn't count to me as that. And how many people do you think bought cases of sets that they think are just going to go up on a credit card? They didn't even buy it on just a cash position. How many people do you think leveraged into Pokemon, especially to start game stores, because they're like, oh, sealed always goes up. So while this set's out, I'm going to get a loan for 10 grand and I'm going to buy these and I'm going to sell it. And I have to pay it back in 2 years or so, because it's a shorter term loan. But Pokemon in 2 years is going to be higher than that. So it's fine. Again, in emergency scenarios, you're going to have to sell that stuff. You don't see these sorts of things coming. And if you don't have the money to put into this and you don't have any stable foundation, you're kind of screwed. You're kind of screwed. And so I don't think any of this stuff is really being taken into account. And I'm of the belief, from what I have seen, and I'm not a wizard or anything, but it really appears that within the next 2 years, my opinion, whatever, I could be wrong, within the next 2 years, that we're probably going to lead into some sort of recession. It could be very nothing. It could be huge. It could be very little. But I believe it's time to prepare for that sort of stuff now when things are good, instead of being the person who is chasing that sort of market downwards. It's a good time while things are still good to lock in some profits. If you're someone in a position where you need to pay off debt, if you have credit card debt, if you have a car, if you have high interest real estate debt, it's time to lower that stuff now. Sorry, I got a phone call in the middle of recording this. But when a recession does happen, I want to be personally in a position where am stable, I have low expenses, and I'm ready to deploy income into opportunities that show up at that time. And if you're over leveraged when it's hot and then it comes down and it blows up all in your face, you're going to be stuck. You're going to be really, really stuck. So I personally am focusing, and I'm going to be selling a lot of my personal collection to lower my real estate, to pay off my mortgage, because I don't have other debts. But I'm going to be paying that off so that I'm in a good position to take advantage of the market when it comes down, and not get taken advantage of by the market when it comes down. And I feel like it's a good time to look at your own situation and decide if that's a good time for you to do that now. So pay off all debt. That's my point. If you don't have any debt, I have another point that I'm going to come up with very soon that will help you. But if you have debt, consider paying all of it off right now. While it's still good, while you don't feel it as bad, it doesn't hurt you as bad right now because people are making money, right? But if it comes down, it's going to hurt, and you're going to feel it a lot. Get stable, pay off all debts, cars, credit cards, student loans, stuff like that while you can. And only exception would be like really low interest rate real estate debt that doesn't take up a huge portion of your take-home pay. Let's just say you lost your job, had to take a 30% pay cut just to get something, like to get some sort of income in. Would you be okay with your current housing payment? Again, rent, there's only so low you can get it, but with your mortgage payment, you might have too expensive of a house. A lot of people over-leverage themselves into a house that, you end up house poor. I get it. I feel for you. I've worked with a lot of clients. Again, I'm a real estate broker. I've helped a lot of people that ended up in that situation. It's unfortunate. But it's time to look at that now. If I took a 30% pay cut, would I get screwed here? Or do I need to do something to help my income increase? Do I focus on that stuff now? If you don't have any debt at all, focus on what we were talking about with Rudy earlier. Diversify. If you skipped all those steps and you're straight into Pokemon and you only have a little bit, really look at your stocks. Really look if you are thinking about getting into real estate. Really look at, I don't care if it's gold, whatever. Look at everything and be like, man, if Pokemon went down, am I really happy with my stocks at this amount? Am I really happy if my retirement's only at this right now, at this age? Look at that stuff. I encourage you to sell some of this while you can right now and diversify just to give yourself a more stable foundation in your life. I feel like, anyone who's going to say buy the dip right now and they don't have that foundation built, if you're saying buy dip, you don't have foundation built. You don't have any diversification at all. You have a lot of debt. You shouldn't be giving advice to anybody on this type of stuff. And really, this isn't financial advice. This is just life advice. Build yourself a stable foundation. That's the most important thing you can do. And if you need to sell some Pokemon cards to lock in profits and get better in your life now, I would really recommend doing that. Pay off debt or diversify. Only reasons to sell right now. If you're diversified, you have no debt, dude, hold on for whatever you want and good luck to you there. That's totally cool. Hope this video helped you guys out. Sorry, it's kind of jumbled. I had so many thoughts I just needed to put into this. And whether or not a recession comes in 2 years, 1 year, 5 years, or somehow never happens, you're never going to go wrong locking in profits, building a foundation and a future for yourselves through diversification. You're never going to go wrong doing that. And I hope you guys found value in this. Subscribe for more, and I'll see you on the next one.